Greetings, mortals! My name is Caleb, you can call me Lord Moch, and we are back with our part 2 video on vampires and the spooky month of Halloween in October, where we will be going into really in-depth racial options for vampire or vampiric-like races that you can bring to your D&D table for you and your DM. And in this episode of Homebrew Heist Part 2, we will be discussing some more vampire options. So I hope you guys are excited. Let me know which of these upcoming options we're going to talk about today is your favorite, because I would like to hear that. And without further ado, let us begin. And this time we will be discussing a book called Monstrous Races. And by the way, I didn't say it in the last episode, but if anybody out there ever wants to get copies of these PDFs or know where to find this stuff, all you got to do is send me an email at themochcreations@gmail.com. I will put that information down in the description so you can find that. I will happily do everything I can to help you find and hopefully add these things to your table, because homebrew is amazing. It's one of the biggest reasons why I do this show, is because I love bringing homebrew to my world. But in this first one we're going to talk about is we're going to add the vampire templates to our existing characters. Now, here is how, and this is quite honestly the best way to become a vampire, in my opinion. You shouldn't start out as a vampire as a playable character, in my opinion, unless you're doing like the Vampire or something like that we've talked about. Let me get rid of that, guys. Sorry about that. But in my opinion, you should never just start out as a full-fledged vampire. You should probably have something along these lines. Now, evil undead humanoids that feed on the blood of the living vampires' powers are numerous and include the ability to assume the form of a bat, to mentally dominate the living, and the ability to heal from mortal wounds almost instantly. Becoming a vampire. If a living humanoid creature slain by a vampire's bite is then buried in the ground, it rises the following night as a vampire spawn. Upon adding the vampire template, the character becomes a vampire spawn and immediately gains the traits listed under vampire traits below. In addition, the character's growth and training are affected. The next time the character gains enough experience to gain a level, instead of selecting a class in which to take the new level, the character immediately gains a level in the vampire template. So this is kind of like a class, but from what I just read, you can still take levels in other classes, but the first time you level up, it has to be in the vampire template, and then from there you can start going into your normal classes. After gaining the first level in the vampire template, characters may resume gaining levels normally if they choose to do so, just like I read. In order to gain the second level of the vampire template, the vampire which created the vampire spawn must knowingly and willingly allow the vampire spawn to drink the vampire's blood. Upon doing so, the vampire spawn may continue taking levels of the vampire template the next time they gain enough experience to gain a level. Unfortunately, most vampires are reluctant to promote their spawn, as doing so means that their former spawn is no longer destroyed upon the master vampire's death, thereby removing the need to protect the master in order to survive. To remove vampirism, a creature that becomes a vampire or a vampire spawn cannot be returned to normal life except by the wish spell or similarly powerful magic, or by destroying the vampire or vampire spawn and raising the creature from the dead with a raise dead or similar spell. So, here's the traits that you're going to get when you take that first level into vampire. You're going to get a 1d8 for your hit die. I think that's kind of low, to be honest. Vampires are supposed to be very, like, maybe it's not. We'll look at what you get for other things like this regeneration over here, but that might be a little bit low. The next thing you're going to get is you're going to choose some traits. Vampires gain the following traits at each level as indicated in the table below. Alignment, creature type, chained to the grave, vampire weaknesses, bites and claws, and dark vision are all level 0 traits. Then once you level up to level 1, your regeneration and spider climb, charm, children of the night at 2, 3, shape changer, 4, ability score increase, and 5, misty escape. Your alignment is going to be lawful evil. Creature type. Your creature type changes to undead and adds the shape changer subtype to the existing subtypes. Chained to the grave. The coffin, crypt, or grave site in which you were buried becomes your resting place, and you must rest there by day. If you did not receive a formal burial, you must rest beneath at least 1 foot of earth at the place that you rose from the dead. You may move your resting place by transporting your coffin or a significant amount of grave dirt to another location. You gain the following flaws. Forbiddance. You can't enter a residence without invitation from one of the occupants. This is a big thing in normal vampire lore, which I'm glad they're putting it in here. It's a well-known old vampire thing that you cannot enter a resident's home unless you are given permission, and you can do anything you want to get that permission, but you cannot do it without somebody who lives in the home. Keyword: they have to be an occupant, not a guest. An occupant. Harmed by running water. We've seen this before in a couple of the other things that other homebrew races that we looked at. You take 20 acid damage when you start your turn in running water. That is ridiculous, but very powerful. Stake to the heart. You are destroyed if a piercing weapon made of wood is driven to your heart while you are incapacitated in your resting place. Now, I've seen some contradictory things here. I think a stake to the heart for a normal vampire in D&D does not kill them. It just paralyzes them, and they can't move. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section down below, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So I don't know why a stake to the heart is killing this one. I mean, it does only work if they're in the resting place, so I guess that's kind of okay. Sunlight hypersensitivity. You take 20 radiant damage when you start your turn in sunlight. While in sunlight, you have disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. Bite and claws. You are proficient with your unarmed strikes, which deal 1d4 piercing damage and 1d4 necrotic damage, or 1d8 slashing damage on a hit. Dark vision for 60 feet. Regeneration. You are able to recover from wounds with horrifying speed and can even regrow severed body parts. As a bonus action, you may spend a hit die to recover hit points. If a part of your body is removed or destroyed, including your head, but you are not killed, you may reattach the body part as an action. You are vulnerable to acid and fire. If you take acid or fire damage, you may not use regeneration trait to recover hit points or reattach limbs until the end of your next turn. When you take a short or long rest, you regain spent hit dice up to the number of dice equal to half of your total number of them rounded up. If you have lost any body parts, the missing body parts regrow, and the original body parts wither and die. So that D8's not horrible then, but I'm just saying vampires are supposed to have a very high constitution, so, whatever. Spider climb. You can climb difficult surfaces, including upside down on ceilings, without needing to make an ability check. So this is literally just casting the spell Spider climb on yourself, except they don't have to do that. They can just naturally do it. Shape changer. If you aren't in sunlight or running water, as an action, you can polymorph into a tiny bat or a medium cloud of mist, or back into your true form. While in bat form, you can't speak. Your walking speed is 5 feet, and you have a flying speed of 30 feet. Your statistics, other than your size and speed, are unchanged. Anything you are wearing transforms with you, but nothing you are carrying does. You revert to your true form if you... You revert to your true form if you... Obviously, this is one of the problems with homebrew. There's sometimes a mistake in how the things are getting worded, but something's wrong there. While in mist form, your vampire can't take any actions. Wow, a little bit of mess up here. While in mist form, your vampire can't take any action, speak, or manipulate objects. You are weightless, have a flying speed of 10 feet, can hover and enter a hostile creature's space and stop there. In addition, if air can't pass through a space, the mist can do so. The mist can do so without squeezing. You can't pass through liquids. You have advantage on strength, dexterity, and constitution saving throws, and resistance to all non-magical damage, except the damage you take from sunlight. You can't fall and remain hovering in the air even when stunned or otherwise incapacitated. You may remain in mist form for up to 1 hour, at which point you return to your true form. If you are forced to revert to your true form while in a space that cannot contain you, you are shunted into the nearest safe space, following a path which mist could follow, and take 1d6 damage per 5 feet travel this way. The resistance from mist does not apply to this damage. Once you adopt mist form, you cannot do so again until you have completed a long rest. You may adopt bat form at will. So this is a normal ability for vampires. I'm pretty sure once a vampire drops to 0 HP, they automatically change into that mist form. And they use it as a means of escape to get back to their coffin and their resting place. And one moment, guys, I'm going to take a drink of my liquid death and I'm going to murder this thirst. Oh, delicious. But yeah, that's a pretty standard ability for vampires. Misty Escape. When you drop this, well, this is probably what I'm talking about right here. When you drop to 0 hit points outside your resting place, you transform into a cloud of mist, as in the shape changer trait, instead of falling unconscious, provided that you are in sunlight or running water. If you can't transform either to sunlight, running water, because you have used Misty Escape already since you had your long rest, or due to other effects which prevents you from changing forms, you are destroyed. While you have 0 hit points in mist form, you can't willingly to your vampire form, and you must reach your resting place within 1 hour or be destroyed. While at 0 hit points, you automatically succeed at death saving throws. You may not roll these saves, so you cannot roll a natural 20 to regain 1 hit point. However, if you take radiant damage, such as damage that you take from the sun, you are treated as though you had failed a death saving throw. If you fail 3 death saving throws, you are destroyed. Once in your resting place, you revert to your vampire form. You are then paralyzed until you regain at least 1 HP. You may take short and long rests while in the state, spending hit dice to heal yourself as normal. While you use this ability, you can't use it again until you complete a short or long rest. All of that was kind of normal to the normal vampire, so that's kind of cool that we're seeing this stuff here. I don't think that you get to use 3 death saving throws for damage, though, so I think once a vampire takes damage in their mist form from either running water or radiant damage, they just automatically die. Could be incorrect there, I'm not 100% sure, but, you know, Charm. You may cast the Charms Person spell once per short rest. Charisma is your spellcasting ability for this spell. Children of the Night. You magically call 3d4 swarms of bats or rats, provided that the sun isn't up. While outdoors, you can call 3d4 wolves instead. The called creatures arrive in 1d4 rounds, acting as your allies and obeying your spoken commands. No action required by you. The beasts remain for 1 hour until you die or until you dismiss them as a bonus action. After you use this ability, you can't use it again until you complete a short or long rest. Really like this. Makes a lot of sense. I love it. It's just a really cool ability and is very much a lot of fun to use. And it just makes sense. It's a natural thing that vampires are already capable of doing. I want to go ahead and read some of the design notes real quick to see what they were thinking from here. Vampires have too many abilities to make them a non-level template. Fortunately, the 5th edition version of Vampires presents a clear progression from living creature to vampire level of the template, and we'll use the 2nd level to add the abilities which vampires get that vampire spawn don't, like Charm. Before we distribute abilities, other levels, we'll need to discuss their BP costs. The player's characters as vampire sidebar is important to note. It provides very little information, unfortunately, but it explicitly sets the DC formula for Charm, and it explains that ability score adjustments aren't applied until the character becomes a full vampire. Creatures that become vampires become undead, costing 1 BP. Chained to the Grave is a tiny handicap for adventurers, while it's crucial vulnerability for enemies in a typical campaign. For most players, it will only matter behind the scenes. As such, we won't assess the BB cost. Wow, there is a lot of notes on this. I don't think I'm going to go ahead and read all the notes on this, but like I said, if you guys want to be able to find this information, you can just email me and I will send it to you because I'm more than happy to get it to you in whatever way I can, or I will direct you to the website that can get you this information. But let's go ahead and go into our next vampiric race, which is going to be another standard vampire. This is from the Gothic Heroes Villains PDF that I was able to get my hands on. And just an amazing piece of art from a Magic the Gathering card that her name is escaping me right now, but she is an amazing character from, I believe, Innistrad. The most distinctive thing about Vampire's appearance is their eyes. The sclera is black and the iris is gold, silver, or other colors. The skin is pale and cool to the touch. The hair is often black but is sometimes deep purple, dark magenta, burgundy, or even dark blue-green. Some vampires wear wigs, however, for variety, novelty, or to disguise themselves more easily among humans. A vampire's canines are very slightly pronounced at all times, and when they bite someone, the canines extend about a quarter inch. Vampires also tend to have long and slightly curved fingernails. Unquenchable thirst. Let me see how much we got here, because I don't want to, make you guys sit through all this. Let's just go ahead and get to the traits. Now, this is not a level up one. I know I'm skipping a lot, but we have like 4 more to go over here, so I don't want to go over too much. This is not a level up one. I believe this is adding on. Nope. This is okay. This is just a straight up starting out level 1. So a character that takes this vampire traits from this book will get a strength increase of +2. Once a person becomes a vampire, they stop aging and are frozen forever at the same maturity as they were when they changed. Due to the bloodlines, vampires are naturally inclined to a lawful alignment, and though they are usually seen as evil by most humans, but from the vampire's perspective, they see themselves as benefactors of humans and see themselves as good. You are considered a medium creature with 30 speed. You can speak reading like common and another language of your choice. Glamour, a unique form of quasi-illusion magic that enables vampires to move among humans undetected. These are mind-affecting spells that alter what nearby humans think they're perceiving, rather than true illusion that changes the subject's appearance as such. Particularly strong-willed humans can sometimes shake off the effects of the glamour and see a vampire truly. A non-vampire creature you meet makes a perception check, DC equals charisma score, or see you as a human noble. Bloodthirst. You can drain blood and life energy from a willing humanoid or one that is grappled by you, incapacitated, or restrained. Make a melee attack against the target. If you hit, you deal 1 piercing damage and 1d6 necrotic damage. The target's hit point maximum is reduced by an amount equal to the necrotic damage taken, and you regain hit points equal to that amount. The reduction lasts until the target finishes a long rest. The target dies if the effect reduces its hit points maximum to 0. So this is the first time we're seeing this. The amount of necrotic damage you're going to deal permanently, well, not permanently, like until they take a long rest, permanently lowers your hit point maximum by the amount that you're dealing. So if you're able to keep drinking and dealing more necrotic damage, you can make a fighter's HP at level 8, which should be around, I don't know, like maybe like 80, about 80 something maybe. You can make that go down to like 50 or 40, like depending on how much damage you're taking, you're dealing. Dark vision of 60 feet. Trance. They only have to sleep for 4 hours a day. Unquenchable thirst. A vampire will starve to death in 1 full cycle of the moon unless it drinks as much human blood as an average human contains, which is about 5 liters. Living wood. Weapons made of living wood. Wood that was cut from a tree no more than a week ago deal double damage to you. Vulnerability to silver. This is a big thing that a lot of people don't understand. That vampires are, in a lot of stories, are actually vulnerable to silver. They have disadvantage on all checks made near anything that is made from more than 1 pound of silver, or silver stretched over a surface longer than 1 square foot. This is a different one. Moonlit water. A vampire can't cross running water in which the moon is reflected because of the link between water as the source of human food and the moon as the source of angelic power. If you enter moonlit water, you take 5d10 radiant damage at the start of your turn. That's a little different. I have never heard of that. I assume this might be something of significant impact to the Innistrad Magic the Gathering block. I have not read those books. I desperately want to, though. Edgar Markov is my favorite commander to run, and vampires, like I've already said a bunch of times in these videos, are one of my favorite movie monster type of characters in all of cinema. And there's a word I'm thinking of, but I can't think of it. Of course, I can't think of it. But you now need to pick a sub-race, and the sub-races are based off of the bloodlines that are available in Innistrad. First one being the Markov bloodline. This is the bloodline of Edgar Markov, and the most prestigious of all the bloodlines. The Markov line has been fairly ambitious in its siring over this many centuries, and as a result, the Markov vampires exist in all four Ravenloft's provinces. This isn't to say that all vampires of the Markov line are all high-minded or noble. A bloodline doesn't determine temperament, self-discipline, or restraint. Markov elders seem to have a talent for psychic magic. Your intelligence score increases by 1, and you get the ability Probing Mind. Markov vampires have a special inclination to mental powers. You may use your action attempt to read the surface level thoughts of any creature you can see within 10 feet of you. The target must make a wisdom saving throw of DC equal to 8 plus your proficiency modifier plus intelligence, or you know all thoughts that occur to the target until your next turn. You may spend your action on each turn to renew the effect. This is a cool thing that you can do to gain like advantage in certain situations, or help out your comrades to maybe avoid something that's going to be detrimental. But here, one second. Oh man, that water is great. The Falconwrath line, concentrated more in Stenzia than the Markov line, had a famous falconer, now dead, as its progenitor and remains associated with far-reaching activity and predation. Falconwrath vampires are the boldest in walking among humans, taking pleasure in choosing their victims from deep within human communities that consider themselves safe. Falconwrath elders are more likely to master powers of flight rather than those of their line. You get to increase your dexterity score by 1, and you get a flying speed of 30 feet. Now, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I'm pretty sure Falconwrath is not from Innistrad. I think that's from Zendikar. Not 100% sure. I don't remember. And I don't even know where... Oh, that picture that we were talking about up here? That's Olivia. Yeah, that's Olivia. Ah, she's such a great vampire. I love her to death. So now we're talking about the Voldaren clan. The progenitor of the Voldaren clan, Olivia Voldaren, was in life a beautiful but strange, hermetic, antisocial woman who preferred to live far away from human civilization in manor homes built for her from her seemingly boundless wealth. Like her progenitor, Voldaren vampires tend to live in the distant places in the borderlands of the edges of Innistrad's provinces. Maybe these ones are from Innistrad, the Falconwrath. I'm not 100% sure. Voldaren elders can more easily master magic that enables them to transform into animal forms, especially those of a bat, cat, or rat. Your wisdom score increases by 1. Voldaren vampires enjoy their reclusive nature, and so many take the time to learn transformation magic. You may use your action to transform into a tiny beast with a challenge rating of 0. Treat this transformation like the Druid's Wild Shape feature in Player's Handbook, page 68. Now, I have no idea about the Stormkirk. It might come to me when I'm reading it, but unwilling to take part in the political and social machinations of Stensian vampires, those of the Stormkirk line chose to concentrate their power in Nephelia instead. As a result, their disguising glamours are more powerful and more sophisticated. Stormkirk's progenitor, Runo Stormkirk, was the high priest in life who worshipped a Avasian god of the sea and storms, and Stormkirk vampires still feel a slightly affinity with the coast, while some Stormkirk elders have achieved the ability to transform themselves into mist. So we're going back to that ability to transform into mist here. Charisma score increases by 1. Stormkirk vampires enjoy living near human and have enhanced their glamours to make them harder to see through. Creatures have disadvantage on perception checks to see through your glamour. Stormkirk vampires have developed a special skill in convincing people to see things their way. You are proficient in your choice of deception, persuasion, and intimidation. They get 2 abilities. That's kind of not fair. But those are the vampires that you will find in the Gothic Heroes Villains book. A lot of fun. There's a lot of other cool stuff in this book, but we are only here to talk about vampires. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We already talked about the monstrous races. Now the last Adobe file I have is to talk about another variation of the Dhampir. The Vampire are a tragic union of humanoid mortality and vampiric undead. The potential bloodlust generated from such an asyncratic union manifests itself within a half-vampire spawn in the form of a curse. Consume the blood of humankin or perish slowly and painfully. Now, we're going to go ahead and skip all this stuff because we've talked a lot about Vampires in the last episode. So what you get for becoming a Vampire and starting out as a Vampire is a +1 to your Constitution. Vampire mature at the same rate as humans, but never grow elderly in body, remaining middle-aged adults until their death takes them. Vampire do not die from age. Vampire are not locked to the evils of their vampiric hat, but do tend towards a lawful alignment. A 60 feet version of dark vision. They are considered medium creatures with a 30-foot speed. Blood curse. You must consume the blood of a humanoid once per week as a result of your vampiric nature. Should you fail to do so, you gain 1 point of exhaustion per day until you partake of humanoid blood. You cannot remove exhaustion points gained by this feature by taking a long rest. Vampiric bite. Your fangs are natural weapons which you can use to make an attack as a bonus action if you are grappling the target. If you are hit, you deal piercing damage equal to 1d6 plus your strength or dexterity modifier. Crimson to Light. When you attack a humanoid using your Vampiric Bite feature, you can choose to regain a number of hit points equal to the damage dealt if the target has blood. Additionally, this satisfies your weekly quota of blood for your Blood Curse feature and removes 1 point of exhaustion. You can use this feature once before you must take a long rest though. You are resistant to necrotic damage, and you can speak, read, and write Common in one of the language of your choice. And now we have the sub-races, the Feral Blood. You can increase your strength by 2. Mortal Sense, you gain proficiency in the Perception or Survival skill. You have advantages on Wisdom Perception and Wisdom Survival checks to detect humanoids. Vicious Hunger, you can use your Vampiric Bite feature as a bonus action, and its damage dice becomes a 1d8. Or you can take the Noble Blood subrace, and your Charisma score increases by 2. You can utilize your vampiric ancestry to manipulate a creature and mold them to your whim. You can cast the Charm Person spell with this trait and regain the ability to do so when you finish a long rest. A humanoid charmed in this way is a willing target for your Vampiric Bite feature, not requiring you to grapple the creature or an attack roll to hit. I really like this. It's not something that you don't have to overwhelm your opponent. You can just use your Charmed Person. Usually when you attack somebody when they're charmed, it'll automatically break them out of it, and there's nothing you can do about it. They will instinctively know what you're trying to do to them. But this is really cool. I like this. Cunning Diplomat. You gain proficiency in the Deception or Persuasion skill. And here are some racial feats that you can take. Blood Frenzy. You can smell death as it approaches. When a hostile humanoid with blood you can see is reduced to at least half of its maximum hit points, you can use a reaction to enter into a Blood Frenzy for 1 minute. While in a Blood Frenzy, you gain the following benefits. Additionally, while in a Blood Frenzy, you must use your action to attack, disrupt, or otherwise harm a bloody creature. If there are no bloody creatures you are aware of, you immediately end Blood Frenzy. You can use this feature again until you can't use this feature again until you take a long rest. You have advantage on all weapon attacks rolls made against bloody humanoids. You have advantage on all strength checks and saving throws. You can use Crimson Delight an unlimited number of times while in Blood Frenzy. What was Okay, that was what that was. So this is kind of like if you wanted to make a barbarian vampire. This is kind of what I'm seeing here. The Clinging Bat, you're always under the effects of the Spider Climb spell, so that's pretty cool. Misty Escape, increase your Constitution score by 1. When you drop to 0 hit points but are not killed outright, you can choose to not fall unconscious and instead polymorph into a cloud of vampiric mist until the end of your turn. While in mist form, you are immune to all conditions and damage, have a fly speed of 15 feet, and can only take the dash action. Additionally, you are extremely susceptible to wind. You automatically fail any saving throws that would be made to resist strong gusts of wind, such as that from the Gust of Wind spell. You can't use this feature again until you finish a long rest. So we're finding some really freaking cool feats for this Vampire. This is really cool. The Vampiric Arcana. Your bloodline carries with it an innate arcane power. You learn the Chill Touch cantrip and can cast it at will. Additionally, you can learn the Fog Cloud and Vampiric Touch spells and can cast each once before taking a short or long rest. Intelligence or Charisma, your choice, is your spellcasting ability for these spells. Of Fur and Flight. As an action, you can cast the Polymorph spell, but can only turn yourself into a tiny bat. Charisma is your spellcasting ability for this spell. While in bat form, you maintain your intelligence, wisdom, and charisma ability scores. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your charisma modifier before taking a long rest. And here are the features for the bat. A lot of cool stuff here. This was created by u/_snugs_. A lot of cool fun with this. There's a picture of Soren Markov, Edgar Markov's son. This is a cool one. This is a fun one. I enjoyed this one. So let's go ahead and get into another Dhampir. Again, there's a lot of examples of Dhampirs, and I just kind of wanted to go over them. We're not going to read about what this Dhampir is capable of. We're going to go straight into the traits and see how they differ. Your Constitution score increases by 2. Dhampirs mature at the same rate of humans, but live to be into their 300s. So this is a little bit different. Usually they live till they die. Dhampirs are given dark appetites by their nature, pushing many Dhampirs towards evil or neutral alignments. Dhampir are also likely to be lawful, as they are chaotic. You're a medium creature with 30 feet. You have 60 feet of dark vision. Hard to kill. You have advantage on death saving throws. I kind of like that. Not a lot of creatures get advantage on death saving throws. Man, like a Dhampir, I needed to murder that thirst. Ugh, I'm going to keep saying that because I love it. I think Liquid Death is such a great company. I love their slogans. I love all the crap they do. Sunlight sensitivity. You have disadvantage on attack rolls and on wisdom checks that rely on sight when you, the target of the attack, or whatever you are trying to perceive, is in direct sunlight. Unnatural resistance. You gain advantage on poison saving throws and have resistance to necrotic damage. And let's see here. Daywalker. You can use a bonus action to expend a hit die to ignore your sunlight sensitivity feature for 10 minutes. You begin with common and one other language. Choose a sub-race. Dreadblood. Your vampiric parent was a mad monster who inspired mortals to unholy terror. You increase your intelligence by 1. After you make a saving throw against a charmed or frightened effect, but before the DM declares whether you succeed or failed, you may spend a hit die to roll a die of that type and add it to the result. Friend to fear. You gain proficiency in your choice of one of the following: intimidation, perception, or stealth. Or you can take the noble blood sub-race. Your vampiric parent was a predator who hunted amongst socialists and nobles. Increase your charisma score by 1. You can use a bonus action to direct one of your companions or a creature charmed by you to strike or perform a simple task. While you do so, choose a friendly creature who can see or hear you and expend 1 hit die. The creature may make a wisdom saving throw. If it chooses not to make or fails that saving throw, it uses its reaction to make 1 weapon attack or ability check, adding the expended hit die to the attack roll or an ability check. You gain proficiency in your choice of one of the following: deception, insight, or persuasion. This is really cool. I like how they're making the hit die a resource for you here. The Feral Blood vampire. Your vampiric parent was a creature red in tooth and claw. Your strength score increases by 1. You can use an action to expend a hit die to turn to a bat or wolf, or roll a die of the same type as the hit die expended. This feature allows all the rules of the Druid's Wild Shape feature to save that it ends only when you choose to return to your normal form as a bonus action. A number of hours pass equal to the result of the die roll plus 1, or when the sun rises. You gain proficiency in your choice of one of the following: animal handling, athletics, or survival. Dhampir to Vampire. Once they meet the ability score and level requirements, Dhampirs can become level 1 vampires. To gain additional levels in the Vampire Prestige class, they must commit Diablare. So if you're going to want to find what that is, you're going to have to find /u/coolgamer tagbro. I might have to find that because that's pretty cool, to take an actual level in Vampire. That would be pretty neat. Let's go ahead and go. We got No. I think we have 3 more. I have to skip a lot of this though and get to the very back of the book. There we go. The Vrlaka. So again, we're going to go ahead and skip all the backstory information since we've already talked about Vrlaka. I do not know if it's very similar to the other one, but we're going to go ahead and talk about the traits and everything. So your charisma score increases by 2, and you can choose to either increase your strength or dexterity by 1. Natural born Verlakas age a little slower than humans, reaching maturity in their late 20s, at which point they cease to visibly age. First generation of Verlakas remain the age they were when they went through the blood bond. Verlakas live for many centuries. Alignment of Verlaka and vampiric nature means that they are pulled towards lawful evil, believing strongly in order and structure. However, many Verlakas attempt to struggle against their innate evil nature. You're considered a medium creature with 35 speed and 60 feet of dark vision, with resistance to necrotic damage, proficiency in the stealth skill, blood dependency. Ooh. You have a pool of 2 blood points. Every time you complete a long rest or a day passes without you completing a long rest, you expend 1 point from your pool. If you feed on the blood of a humanoid taking approximately 200 milliliters, you regain 2 blood points. While you are at 0 blood points, you gain half as much from all healing. This pool is combined with any other features that grant you a blood pool. So, just to give you guys an idea, the Hemomancer class, which should be a homebrew class that you can find, would be pretty cool for this. Living Dead. Because your soul is tainted by undeath, you are both living and undead. If a feature has different effects on living creatures and undead ones, you choose which effects applies to you. Additionally, you may take any vampiric prestige classes without needing to meet prerequisites other than being level 2, and any stat requirements. This is really cool. I'm going to have to find all of these cool vampire prestige classes, because this is pretty cool sounding. You have advantage on any deception checks made to pass as human. Lifeblood. When you successfully grapple or kill a humanoid within 5 feet of you, you may drink of the enemy's blood as a bonus action, granting you a surge of vitality. You gain temporary hit points equal to your constitution modifier plus your level. So this one's a little bit different. Usually you gain what you deal. This one's a little bit different. So, and gain advantage on strength-based attack rolls, skill checks, and saving throws until the end of your next turn. You regain 2 blood points. Once you use this feature, you must finish a short or long rest before you can use it again. You can speak, read, and write common and 1 extra language of your choice. Shadowy manipulators. The nature of their race compels Verlakas to hide in plain sight within other cultures. Typically by passing themselves off as human nobles from distant lands, they endear themselves to local rulers who strive to attain the power and wealth that their ancestors enjoyed. At the same time, they maintain a shadow society of their own, engaging in vicious games of influence and power against Verlakan peers. Oblivious of the harm they may cause mortal folk caught in the crossfire. Those who break their bond of blood, however, are typically exiled, shunned by Verlakan society, and forced to live in isolation among the common races. Some such Verlakas take up lives of wandering and join adventuring, while others undergo a dark breakdown and turn into bloodthirsty killers, preying on the folk around them. So I am really getting more enamored with the Verlaka type of vampire. I think it sounds really cool. I'm thinking about adding it into my world. I'm really enjoying this type. I'm going to have to look at the one that I did in the last episode. And because one thing I like to do is I like to try to make a homebrew my own if I can. Now, I don't always do it, but, sometimes I do. If I find a bunch of different variations, I might take what I like and get rid of what I don't like and combine them. But we've got 2 more to talk about. I'm going to do this one real quick because it is a Races of Ravnica vampire that I found. Ravnica. This is not available in the core Ravnica book, but honestly, there should have been a vampire in the core Ravnica book because vampires do exist in Ravnica. So I don't understand why they didn't do it. But for ability score increase, you get a +2 to dexterity, a +1 to charisma. After becoming a vampire, an individual shows no signs of aging and can live indefinitely. Having to survive on the blood of others, many vampires are comfortably aligned towards evil, and those who are not often find themselves judged against the more cruel kin. You are considered a medium creature with 30 feet. Bloodthirst. You can drain blood and life energy from a willing creature or one that is grappled by you, incapacitated, or restrained. Make a melee attack against the target. If you hit, you deal 1 piercing damage and 1d6 necrotic damage. The target's hit point maximum is reduced by an amount equal to the necrotic damage taken, and you regain hit points equal to that amount. So we're seeing that your target's hit point maximum is reduced by the damage they take, which is really cool. The reduction lasts until the target finishes a long rest. The target dies if the effect reduces a hit point maximum to 0. Charm of the Bitten. When you damage a humanoid with the attack made using your Bloodthirst trait, you can attempt to charm that creature. This is cool. Oh man, this is cool. The target must make a wisdom saving throw. The DC for this saving throw is equal to 8 plus your charisma modifier plus your proficiency bonus. On a failed save, the target is charmed by you for 1 minute. While charmed this way, the target treats you with adoration, which makes so much sense. Once you use this trait, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. Starting at 3rd level, you gain flight. You'll have a speed of 30 feet with that, and can hover. To use the speed, you can't be wearing medium or heavy armor. You are undead, which means that rather than humanoid, you have resistance to necrotic damage. Languages, you can speak, read, and write Common, and any other languages you knew before becoming a vampire. So the idea of this one is you kind of throw out all the racial stats you had for whatever character you were, and you now gain all these. This is okay if you don't want to work so hard and add on, but I like the other one because it makes a lot more sense to me, where you slowly start going from a vampire spawn to a vampire, and it's kind of like a level up system. That would probably be what I would do. I kind of like that a lot more. So now, for our last character, our last racial stat for vampire-like creatures, we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the Homo sanguinum. Now, this video is already really long, so we're not going to go ahead and talk about all this stuff. But yet again, like I've said a couple times already, if you guys want to find any of this information, please let me know by emailing me at themochcreations@gmail.com, and I will get that information to you any way I possibly can. Please make sure you support the creators of this work by going to their official websites, and if they have them for sale, please purchase them there. That helps them a lot, and it keeps the homebrew community alive. So, your Constitution score is going to be increased by 2. Those affiliated by Umbravilis sanguinum seem immune to the normal process of cell death and are functionally immortal as long as they remain regular blood transfusions. So, are they not drinking blood? Size, you're medium. Speed, 40 feet. That's a lot. Alignment, despite unfound rumors to the contrary, those affected by the mutation have no innate leaning towards evil or any other alignment. Transfusion. The most devastating ailment that the sanguinum mutation bestows is a severe anemia such that the afflicted becomes reliant on regular transfusions. You cannot regain hit points as usual during a short or long rest. You must receive at least 1 pint of fresh blood each day or suffer a level of exhaustion. Perhaps by work of Adam virus, Umbrulavis sanguinum provides mechanism for this transfusion by way of hypodermic veins within the jaw or of the afflicted. So they are drinking blood, but they're treating it more as like, this is kind of cool. It's different, but it's cool. You gain a natural weapon in the form of bite attack with which you are proficient. Your bite deals 1d6 necrotic damage and deals 4 ounces, drains 4 ounces of blood from the target using your choice of dexterity or strength for its attack and damage rolls. If the target of your bite attack is not a construct, plant, ooze, or undead, this damage reduces its maximum hit points by the same amount until the end of its next turn. Short or long rest, and you may spend a hit die to recover hit points equal to its rolled value plus your Constitution modifier. Alternatively, you may choose to bite a willing creature, draining blood from their body. The target takes no damage, but instead spends hit dice as they would during a short rest, gaining no hit points. Any hit points the target would normally gain by spending hit dice in this way, you gain instead. You drain 1 pint of blood for each hit die spent. I really like the idea of doing this kind of character with a beloved, like with a lover or something, or like a brother or a sister or a parent, and they are on the adventure with you, and they do everything they can to keep you healthy by feeding you. That would be so cool. That would be really neat. Sunlight sensitivity. You have disadvantage on attack rolls and on wisdom perception checks that rely on sight when you, the target of your attack, or whatever you are trying to perceive, is in bright light. In addition, you take 1 radiant damage each round while your skin is exposed to direct sunlight. Radiant aversion. Your body is weakened by even relatively low doses of radiant damage. You have vulnerability to radiant damage and take damage from healing spells when a radiant source equal to the hit points they would normally restore. You have 120 feet of dark vision. That is monstrous. I would probably cut that down. Sleepless, whatever mutation the disease causes within the brain and body, it seems that those afflicted do not require rest in the same way as normal humans. You do not require sleep so long as you have received a transfusion of at least 1 pint of blood in the last 24 hours. So you don't need to take a long rest. Like, the trance ability for elves, they still have to remain inactive for 4 hours. This is kind of saying that you don't have to do that. Like, huh. Weird. Wonder how that would work for your class abilities. I mean, you still have to take a long rest. Like, this is kind of weird. I would not know how to deal with this. Interesting. Blood sense. The disease has made you acutely aware of the flow of blood, even within other creatures. You can sense the presence and location of all creatures within 30 feet of you, which have flowing blood. Unnatural ability. Your specific incarnation of Umbra Virilis Sanguinum has heightened some aspect of your body or mind. Choose either strength, dexterity, or charisma. Your ability score for this ability check increases by 2. Ooh, we're getting +4 here. In addition, when you make a skill check, attack roll, or saving throw using your chosen ability, you may choose to spend a hit die as a free action to gain advantage on the roll. You may use this ability a number of times between long rest equal to your proficiency bonus. So this is the first time we're seeing like a long rest thing, I'm pretty sure. You may speak, read, and write common in one other language of your choice. Very interesting. That was pretty interesting. I'm probably going to have to read into this. Now, what I'm going to do is, since we've gone over all of these different vampiric races that I could find, there are probably a ton more. Oh my gosh, there are probably a ton more. We did so many different variations of just the Vampire that, wow. I am probably going to pick either 2 or 3 of these races, and I will make characters for them. And I will let you guys know what I think about them, and I'll let you know. I will use how they appear, and then I will tell you what if I decide to add it to my world or not, what I'm officially going to take out and replace with, or what I'm just going to add to it. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Which one of these was your favorite? Did you enjoy the vampire where you just become it and you add a bunch of stuff onto your already existing character, plus you level up and stuff? Or did you like maybe the Homo Sanguinum? Maybe you liked the different versions of vampire that are found in Innistrad and Magic the Gathering? Or did you like the different version of the Verlaca that we found? Let me know in the comment section down below, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts. This has been a very great couple episodes of Homebrew Heist. I love me some vampires. I think they suck. Get it? They don't actually suck, but I'm a horrible person. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, head on down to that like button. Give me a little bit of thumbs up if you don't mind. Make sure you comment in the comment section down below which one was your favorite. And make sure you hit that subscribe button and that little bell so you never miss another episode of Moch Creations, because these episodes of Homebrew Heist are lit, they are hot, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. But until next time, I will catch you all later. Bye!